Peace, peace and blessing, peace and blessings, peace and blessing. This is Kenya Revolutionary coming to you again for another session. It's Easter Sunday. I hope everyone is doing well wherever you are. I hope you enjoyed your Easter with your family, your friends, your loved ones, whoever you spent your Easter with. I hope all is well, okay? Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends, enemies and comrades, I hope you're doing well. And today, I just had to jump in here in quick, briefly. Perhaps I won't be here too long, but I just wanted to highlight a few things that has been happening this weekend. Okay. Number one, Arsenal drew 0-0 with Manchester City. So that's one news. Two, Liverpool beat Brighton. Okay, I'm not talking about football. We're talking about Kenya politics, or should I say Kenya politics? So let's get to the matter, okay? Madeleo. Kalonzo says NADCO or else Maandamano. That is what Kalonzo told us. He made his pronouncements, I think it was yesterday or the day before yesterday or sometime today, where he was with Eugene Wamalwa. There seems to be a growing bromance between Eugene Wamalwa and Kalonzo Musyoka. I showed you in the previous video. Kalonzo was a guest in the Mulembe Nation, the Luya tradition stuff going on in Carnival, and Kalonzo was up there dancing Isukuti, okay? So, and I explained why this is happening, because as I explained in my previous video, I say that Kalonzo is looking at the Western province. When I say Western province, I just mean, Western province. The people, majority lawyers. Lawyers are, a huge number of them. There's a huge number of them. I think they're second or third in population in Kenya. But they provide a chunk of votes, when you're talking about demographics and what they bring as a voting bloc. So it will be somewhere where any presidential candidate will be looking at keenly to make sure that they secure a significant amount of votes. And with the advent of what's going on in ODM and Azimio as a whole, it doesn't look like Raila might be going away, or if he's going away, he might be back in 2027. And if he goes away, there'll be wrangles within the Azimio, party of who is going to be the head honcho, who's going to be the presidential candidate, flag bearer, whatever the case is. So I explained that, Kalonzo might be looking at the, Western province, the Luya vote, as an alternative, because if he leaves Azimio, which he probably will, at some point, the Luas will not vote for Kalonzo. They'll not go for him, and Kalonzo understands that. They can go back and forth. Kalonzo have always been viewed as somebody who is kigeugeu, is not somebody to be trusted. They were just supporting him last time. They were supporting the ticket because Kalonzo was part of Azimio. Of course, the Kambas might feel otherwise, might feel like, Kalonzo has been loyal to Raila Odinga for a long time now. So it's time to give him back the mkono. But as we know, that's not going to happen. And Raila is not going to endorse him. And if Raila leaves, there's no one up there who is going to endorse Kalonzo Musyoka. So Kalonzo Musyoka alifanya hesabu, akaona, you know what? I might miss out on the Nyanza votes, but instead I'll go for the Luyas, because Luyas are actually just right next door, and I can maybe get some votes from there, okay? That explains why he's having this new bromance with Eugene Wamalwa. But anyway, interesting enough, what he says, the matamshi ambayo alitoa juzi ya majana was what was a kind of, I don't know. We all know what happens if you are not up to date. Somebody put in a petition to stop the whole implementation thing, the discussion on the NADCO implementation in Parliament. I say this months ago. I said it once this NADCO thing was concluded and all that stuff. The judge pronounced herself on this. He said, "Mwacheni mchezo na hii mambo ya NADCO, that's your own agreement. The president should go ahead and choose the selection panel, and we should have a new IEBC instituted immediately as the law requires." Lakini the political organ of our country is what is delaying things, including the president, okay? They delay this in the name of discussing this NADCO nonsense. That's what they were saying. And now the NADCO was concluded. The judge akasema, endelea president. The president is still dragging his feet. The parliament is dragging his feet on choosing of the IEBC chair commissioner, the new chairperson. They're dragging their feet. So somebody from Kiambu, I forgot their name, and I'll play the clip here so you can get the context. Went to court and say, hey, listen, this thing isn't unconstitutional. The NADCO thing is unconstitutional. We've discussed this. We've gone through that, okay? So they put in a petition to stop the whole process in the parliament because Brother Benson is telling me on the comment section that NADCO will not see the light of day. You can never be sure. That's what we said about the police forces that we sent in Haiti. The president still pushed on it and is sending. In fact, the UN say they need 5,000, not even 1,000. And Ruto akafanya ujanja and is passed it illegally, anastuma huko. The same thing we said about the affordable housing and how illegal it is and constitutional it is. Of course, Okia is fighting it. Again, he still passed it regardless. So there's some things that when the political class want to pass something, they want it so bad, they disregard the law and they pass it. And watu wanapiga makelele lakini wanaipitisha. Watajifanya ati sijui, we've fixed some things that will make it lawful, now constitutional, then they pass it, just like the affordable housing. So while I'd like to believe, I would like to associate myself with Brother Benson's view, where I say NADCO should not see the light of day or will not see the light of day. With Kenya knowing this political class, you can never count them out, especially knowing that this NADCO is going to be something that basically creates position for them. Even Martha Karua said something about it, spoke out against this NADCO thing. So you can see there's people who are, I find it, Kalonzo is shameless. The way, in fact, in the fact that he said that ati hii kitu isipopitishwa wataenda Maandamano. It's just but let me play the clip so we can get up an understanding of what I'm talking about, because you might be here wondering, what are you talking about? I haven't heard anything. Maybe you might be behind the news. Let me just go ahead and just mention it and show you what I'm talking about, because this is what was happening. All right, so it was a few days ago where hii mambo ya NADCO ilianza tena. Okay, so I will play you the news clip that actually addresses the issue. I don't know, did I? It seems like I didn't save it somewhere. My goodness. I thought I did. All right, I have it somewhere here, my friends, ladies and gentlemen, brothers, sisters, friends, enemies, comrades. If you just give me a second. Anyway, while I do this, ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching this, whatever you are, please hurry up and like the video. Share, subscribe, and comment. Okay, while I find this news clip that deals with what my friend Kalonzo Musyoka and the NADCO thing. So apparently somebody went to the courts and to stop the whole thing, to say that, hey, listen, this thing cannot go on because it's okay. All right. Let me just play the. Okay. If you just give me 2 seconds, okay? Mtanipatia 2 seconds. Mtanipatia 2 seconds. Sawa basi, wacha niwachezee na hiyo 2 seconds yangu. All right. I found the video. Let me just play that video in a second. All right. Let me play the clip, and then you can you'll get what I'm talking about. This is the news clip that was being, about the NADCO thing. All right, 20. Here it is. All right, here.
Kiambu has suspended the implementation. A high court sitting in Kiambu has suspended the implementation of the National Dialogue Committee report pending hearing and determination of a case filed by activist Michael Mushemi. The petitioner told the courts that any attempts to have Parliament to process the contents of the NADCO report will plunge the country into unprecedented constitutional crisis. Stephen Latour reports.
The implementation of the NADCO report that is before Parliament has been punctured by court sitting in Kiambu, with Lady Justice Dora Chepkwony issuing orders suspending the implementation of the report. The High Court issued a conservatory order restraining the second and third respondents, that is the National Assembly and the Senate, from constituting any special sitting for purposes of debating, endorsing, adopting, and or appointing a panel to implement Chapter 2, Paragraph 203, 263 of the report of the National Dialogue Committee dated 25th November 2023 that seeks an audit of the 2022 presidential election pending hearing and determination of the application. In the petition by Michael Mushemi, Lady Justice Dora Chepkwony further issued a conservatory order restraining the second and third respondents, the National Assembly and Senate, from implementing Chapter 2 of the report of the National Dialogue Committee dated 25th November 2023 that seeks an audit of the 2022 presidential election pending hearing and determination of the application. Other orders granted include a conservatory order restraining the clerks of the second and third respondents, that is, clerk of the National Assembly and the Senate, from implementing Chapter 2, Paragraph 203 to 263 of the report of the National Dialogue Committee dated 25th November 2023 that seeks an audit of the 2022 presidential election pending hearing and determination of the application. In his submissions, the petitioner argued that the presentation and submission of the report as is from the National Dialogue Committee to the National Assembly poses a direct challenge to the rule of law in Kenya as it seeks to conduct an election audit outside the constitutional framework. He told the court that the Supreme Court of Kenya has exclusive jurisdiction to hear and determine disputes relating to the elections to the office of the president, and his decision is final. Any audit at this point cannot change or reverse the decision of the Supreme Court through a constitutional and legal process. According to the petition, quote, if this application is not treated as extremely urgent and certified as such, the underlying constitutional concerns raised in the pleadings below may remain unaddressed. Further, the petitioner notes that it is therefore in the interest of justice that temporary conservatory orders be issued restraining the National Assembly and the Senate from implementing Chapter 2, Paragraph 203 to 263 of the report of the National Dialogue Committee, failure to which will result in further breach of the Constitution of Kenya. Parties have since been directed to file their respective written submissions within 7 days of exchange of responses, that the application be heard inter partes on 16th April 2024. President William Ruto and Azimio leader Raila Odinga had earlier this month called for a speedy implementation of the NADCO report without further delay. Stephen Latour, Citizen TV.
Okay.
I think I'm late on my car.
So, as you can see, and we've argued this, I don't know till when, but I will reiterate again. Again, this is the chickiness of Kalonzo Musyoka here is what's troubling. And I will tell you why in a second, okay? Mkinipatia dakika mbili, I will explain to you. Okay, hold on. Now, okay, I'll just give me a sec. Oh, hold on, just a minute. All right, so somebody put a petition there, and which the judge kind of saw the sense of why there was a need to stop this implementation of NADCO in the parliament. And one of the main arguments there, which is obvious, and we've argued this, was this. there's no way the NADCO can be implemented. Okay, I know Raila said that it should be implemented as it is, when I also say the same thing. They're kind of mum on that right now because of this AU thing and the virtual handshake that might have happened already. But what I want to say is this: the petition actually makes a very good point, which states that in the NADCO, it requires the 2022 elections to be audited. All right, in that NADCO proposal, but you cannot do that since the matter, anything that has to do with the elections, if there's any disputation about anything legal or illegal in that concerns the voting, the whatever, the IBC, which has constitutionally tasked with undertaking the law, undertaking the election process, the Supreme Court has the sole jurisdiction to make a judgment on that case, okay? And if you know anything about civics, the Supreme Court is the highest court of the land of Kenya, okay? And what they say is final. You cannot go anywhere else. One Supreme Court wakikata kesi, you cannot go to Iala or East African, you remember Martha Karua alikuwa to enjoy na hiyo kwenda no. Once Supreme Court ikisha kata kesi in Kenya, that's it. There's no other court you can go to kutatua your maneno. And like I said, any issue that has to do with elections, any disputations, the Supreme Court has the sole jurisdiction on the matter. Hi, Goody, I see you there. Thank you very much. Don't forget to like and subscribe, comment. I see you. Happy Easter. So what the petitioners is arguing is this: you cannot then start auditing the election, what happened in election. Right. You cannot audit what happened on the elections 2022 because the matter had been adjudicated on. When Azimio and everybody else went to the Supreme Court, they were given a chance to, produce anything that would, that will kind of show that these guys were, there was some funny business in this election. Even the servers, whatever the form 34A, 34B, 34, whatever C, whatever the case is, all of that was taken care of then. Okay? And after all that was looked at, the Supreme Court made their judgment, right? And they said, based on the evidence, we are upholding the victory of President William Ruto as the IBC announced. Okay, we didn't see anything funny. So the highest court of the land has made the judgment, and that's the final judgment. You cannot go anywhere. Okay. Now you cannot make a proposal saying to undo what the Supreme Court has already done. Okay, that's what they're saying. Because if you do so, that means you don't respect the Constitution. It's unconstitutional. All right? So that's the point they're making. And that's why the judge in that case said, you know what? I see the point of this. Let's stop this. You cannot implement this as of right now. You cannot do this. Okay? That's number one. So interesting enough, after this judgment was made, all right. Brother Benson is saying, I still believe NADCO is not addressing the real issues that Kenyans are facing. That's true. I agree. In fact, there's nothing that it's addressing, actually. So I agree with you there, Brother Benson. Goody is telling me, NADCO is history. Ruto has poured cold water on it. Yes. I don't know if Ruto did it by himself or whatever, but we are going to look at it. We are going to look at it. I don't know if it's Ruto or... I just thought one thing I agree is that this thing was going nowhere. It was unconstitutional. The High Court said so, and they're still pushing on it. Now, what I find appalling and which is disturbing is that Kalonzo Musyoka comes in public and tells the Wananchi and says, you know what? When we were talking about this NADCO stuff, I feel like the Kenya Kwanza side were not honest. They didn't come to the table honestly, with an honest, with a pure heart. Let me just say that. Okay. Their intention was not to, that's what he's arguing. And so he's saying, he's urging Raila Odinga and Ruto, okay, to make sure that this NADCO is passed. Now, what's disturbing about that statement is it implies that Raila Odinga and William Ruto are above the law. So whatever they want shall pass. Because the law, lawfully, if we are looking at this NADCO proposal, and we've said this here 1,000 times, it is unconstitutional. It is not backed by law. It is unconstitutional in its entirety. Okay? The way it come up, whatever proposal they have, is unconstitutional. So we don't need. Anyway, let me not lose the point I want to make. The point I want to make is this: we see a problem that when this political class, every time we have something that they want that's advantageous to them, and they want to pass to benefit them, instead of following the law, which they know they can't because the law is very clear, stops them from this. Instead, what they do is this: they want to create commotion. That's why you hear Kalonzo saying, if they don't want to implement this NADCO thing through the parliament, tutarudi Maandamano. I told you 1,000 times in my previous videos that Maandamano is used as a way to create crisis in order to get our consent. Okay? What's that book you said? The whatever consent. To get our consent. Wakisha create crisis ya Maandamano. Because what does Maandamano means? Maandamano basically in Kenyan context. Maandamano in its classic definition is protesting. Peaceful protesting as the constitution asked for. Mnaenda mna maandamana kwa peacefully without anything. But Maandamano in the Kenyan context, especially if Raila Odinga or the opposition is calling it, let's not fool ourselves. It means people going to the streets, and we know the possibility of what's going to happen. There will be chaos, police shooting people robbing people, burning down the whatever cars and businesses destroyed. The town will come into a standstill. We know what Maandamano means. It means chaos. Okay, whether you want to be technical and try to make it like, oh, Maandamano are usually peaceful. You this side are the ones who start the fight, or this side is that's not what I'm talking about here. Forget about who does what. What we can establish and what we know is every time we have a Maandamano, a political Maandamano, it always ends up in chaos. So what I'm saying is this: what's annoying and what's annoying about this Kalonzo Musyoka statement, he's asking Ruto and Raila Odinga to push for this NADCO thing, something that's unconstitutional, because he understands that these politicians are above the law. They push on something illegally and it usually passes. So he's asking for them to contravene the constitution for this NADCO to be implemented so that they can create this position for themselves. Even that, Martha Karua tweeted on this. Okay? And Martha Karua is Azimio. So the sad part is this Kalonzo Musyoka, he has the guts to come out in public and tell us that if this NADCO thing is not passed, ati sijui kuna watu wengine wamelipwa waende huko Kiambu kuweka hiyo petition, and if this NADCO thing is not passed, they will go back to Maandamano, protesting, which I gave you the definition, what NADCO means, or what Maandamano means. It means we shall go back to chaos, and even try to imply that, the reason why we have peace now is because of this NADCO. As if we only have peace because the wananchi, all we wanted was for these politicians to get positions. That's what annoys me with Kalonzo Musyoka and Eugene Wamalwa, who I thought stood up for something, but is a useless. I'll show you a tweet by Martha Karua and Miguna, but let's start with Martha Karua. And I'll play Kalonzo what he said about this NADCO thing as we go on. Take a look at what Martha Karua said about this NADCO nonsense. This is somebody from Azimio, by the way. This is not something from opposition. This is something from one of the folks, okay? So where is it? Let me see. Okay, so Martha Karua, here is Martha Karua, what she said. Let me see. Let's see here. Martha Karua, this is what Martha Karua said. You see it in the screen? Can you see it? All right. So Martha Karua says, NADCO was all along meant as a pacifier for the restless masses, jobs for the big boys, and pushing ahead the KK regime's legislative agenda. Martha Karua, ameyeka in a way that, you know, let's see what Goody is saying here. All right. Goody is saying, remember this BBI NADCO was a deal to silence Raila with his projects, promise him heaven and earth. Then, when all was agreed, Ruto dropped everything like a hot potato. Ruto is a small... ay, ay, ay. Woo-wee. Okay. So it was meant for Raila to renew. Raila hasn't spoken, you know, since he started this AU thing, he hasn't said anything about this NADCO. I'm curious. I want to hear what he has to say about this NADCO. Because remember, he told us that he to petition Vileiko. So I am just curious to see how this thing will go. But here, let's listen to
stop the implementation of the national.
Our friend here, Kalonzo Musyoka. Let's see what's going on. All right, here it is. News clip.
And Azimio leaders Kalonzo Musyoka and Eugene Wamalwa are accusing the government of sponsoring court petitions to stop the implementation of the National Dialogue Committee report, or NADCO. Speaking in Diani, Kwale County, the opposition leaders said Kenya Kwanza lawmakers are only interested in selecting the next IEBC commissioners and discard the other contents of the report. Kalonzo is now calling for intervention of President William Ruto and ODM leader Raila Odinga, failure to which he will lead Kenyans back to the streets to push for better living standards.
Yao ni kujaribu wakimbize mambo yao, iwe ni Kenya Kwanza peke yao, ambao watakaounda tume mpya ya IEBC. Hilo halikubaliki. Na kama wataendelea na hiyo route, bila shaka tutajua kwamba wameamua kurig elections hata kabla yenyewe kufanyika.
And we believe this is state-instigated litigation, state-sponsored litigation to derail this process. And we are saying today that as Azimio, we will not accept these tactics.
Okay. You know what's disturbing about this Mr. Eugene Wamalwa? Remember, Eugene Wamalwa was one of the person who said he refused to sign that NADCO report because it did not address the common Mwananchi's needs. And here he is standing in front of cameras telling us that, you know what, this NADCO thing should be passed. This government is the one who are sponsoring people to put a petition against this NADCO thing. Eugene Wamalwa. Hold on, I want you to see my face. Eugene Wamalwa, if you remember, I even gave him props. Him and Martha Karua. They are the ones, Eugene specifically. Eugene alituambia ati he's not putting his sahihi on that NADCO report. Why? Because he did not agree with it, because the NADCO report did not address the needs of the common mwananchi. Remember that? Sasa unamwona hapo mbele ya kamera anatuambia ati nini, sijui our opposition, this NADCO thing should be passed, and you refuse to sign it. If you disagreed on the contents, okay, content of the proposal, why are you still pushing for it to be passed through the legislative body for implementation while you know it's unconstitutional? And both of you are lawyers. You should know better. Both Kalonzo Musyoka and Eugene Wamalwa. You see how hypocritical this people are. It's yani umesema hii document hauitaki ati he's not address wananchi, lakini ikisimamishwa kwa kotini kwa sababu iko unconstitutional unasema no ipitishwe. Tunataka ipitishwe. Na ulisema ati hautaweka sahihi hapo kwa sababu it has nothing to do with one. You see the hypocrisy in this. And they're telling ati wakiendelea hivyo tutarudi maandamano. So they want to hold us hostage. Ati sasa if you don't get what you want, tutarudi maandamano. And now sasa amerudi kwa ile mambo ya kuzusi, you can rig election. You see what's mimi sijui nitawaambia nini. Kalonzo Musyoka, this is what people should call these politicians out for this nonsense. Okay? If you're going to make a proposal, anything you want to do, okay, you want to push through whatever, whether it's whatever proposal you want to push through, or make a law, okay, you should go through it by following what the law requires, whether it's the constitution or a law that's in place, and the law in place should be there that reflects what's in the constitution, okay? You cannot come up with a proposal which is unconstitutional and expect it to be passed as it is in the parliament. Then when somebody puts a petition, unaanza kukasirika. Not only that, one of you, Wamalwa, who disagreed on what the content of the proposal, now is claiming that anataka hiyo kitu ipitishwe. Na alisema ati hata eka sahihi hapo kwa sababu hasikizani na hiyo, hakukubaliana na zile vitu ziko hapo ndani. You see how they're playing with people's, wanatuchezea, wanabeba watu ufala. They think Kenyans are stupid. Unaona? I'm yet to hear from President Ruto and Raila Odinga. They've gone mum since historia AU imeanza. But I will be curious to hear from them. This is something that we should call out these politicians at, live. Hatuwezi kuendelea na hii ujinga. So you're threatening Kenyans with maandamano. First of all, Kalonzo, wewe ulienda maandamano ngapi wewe ulienda? Kalonzo Musyoka. Let me ask Kalonzo Musyoka. How many maandamano have you gone to? Did you participate? Ulienda hizo mbili alafu kaenda huko Machakos. Na unashtua watu hapo na Kenyans want peace. Usifikirie ati wa Kenya Kenyans, one thing about Kenyans, we are very peaceful people. Hata kama watu wanatuchezea, we are willing to say, unajua nini, tunajua hawa sasa wanatuenjoy, but you know what? Wacha tuvumilie tukae na peace. We know where this thing can go. Na kuambia ile siku wa Kenya utakasirika, wewe Kalonzo utakimbia na chupi kwa kichwa yako. You are playing with us. Hii ni madharau sasa. Hii ni madharau. Na wewe Wamalwa, hii ni madharau. Hii si mchezo, hii ni madharau. It is unconstitutional. What part of unconstitutional don't you understand? Mnataka kupitisha kitu ambayo ni nio haiko. Even Martha Karua is saying this proposal is just to create jobs for the big boys. Huyo ni Martha, who is member of Azimio. Go to her tweet. Nimewasomea hapo, Martha amewambia. If Martha, at least Martha amesimama, she's consistent. Wewe Eugene Wamalwa siku mbili tu umeshageuka ati sasa unataka hiyo kitu ipite. Martha at least stood up and said, you know what, hii kitu hata nikisoma, even though she's, the thing with Martha, she knows the truth too. Na Martha unajua ni, Martha kishaamua ameamua. I'm not a fan of Martha Karua. I'm not. But respect, when somebody stands up for something, you have to respect it. If you stand on your position na ukakajalagia, na umejua what's wrong and right, we have to salute you. Martha msema hapo vizuri hapa ati hii NADCO ni ya kutengenezea kazi, kupatia watu hao the big boys kazi. There's nothing constitutional about that. Nothing. And she stood up. Na Martha alisema hataeka sahihi. And she still stands on that. Hajaweka sahihi, amekataa. Wewe Eugene ulisema ati hautaweka sahihi. Si ulituambia hautaweka sahihi? Eugene Wamalwa, si ulituambia hautaweka sahihi? Sasa umesimama hapo na Kalonzo umefurisha hiyo tumbo yako ati sijui hii kitu sijui pitishwe sijui the opposition are not nini. Wewe Kalonzo, Kalonzo, I don't know who's telling you to run for president. Kalonzo, I don't know. Sijui unakimbia president, unaenda kwa president wa nini? What president? Kama umeanza hivi na hii mambo ya NADCO, unajua Kalonzo hauna let me help you Kalonzo. Kalonzo, let me help you. Unajua mimi wapatianga advice ya bure. Mnafahamu nilipe. Kalonzo, if you know this NADCO is not something that people want, Wakenya hawaitaki. Hata Martha Karua mwenyewe haitaki. Why are you still pushing out it? And you're trying to be a president. Unajua kitaka kuwa presidential candidate, si ujifanye hata wewe jifanye at least, jifanya. Hata kama unataka kujifanya, jifanya tu kwa ile side ya wa Kenya, ya wananchi. Pretend. Hii ni ya bure. Jifanye ati wewe pia uko na wananchi. Pretend. Wewe hata kupretend umetoka hapo na kofia tunasema ati hii NADCO ipitishwe na isipopitishwe tunarudi wewe unatustua na maandamano wewe. Musyoka, unastua na maandamano. 2007 vile watu walikuwa wanapigana, ulienda ukaingia ukapita katikati ukaingia kwa serikali, wewe ni ninio vice president. Before that ulikimbia na ninio certificate ya ODM. Ukapima weather, wewe unaangalianga weather, ukiona ule mtu akona nguvu ndio huyo umeenda. Ulikuwa unaangalia hivi unafikiri Raila anaenda kushinda, wacha ni support Raila Odinga. Siku ile Raila Odinga alikuwa anaapishwa, wewe na Musalia Mudavadi simulijificha. Unakumbuka ulijificha? Tukakuuliza where were you, ati sijui simu yangu, sijui gari yangu, sijui I was stop, sijui nini. Kalonzo wewe. Kama Musyoka. Stephen. Wewe. Kalonzo. Wewe. Wachana na Eugene. Eugene cannot even get Eugene election ikichukuli. If the election was to be held in his own household, not everyone in his household will vote for him. Even his wife will not vote for him. Wachana na Wamalwa. Wamalwa is a busy body. Wacha kaya hapo na haribia watu wakati. Wamalwa wachana amekaa hapo watu haribia wakati. Sindikiza watu. Wamalwa is useless. Ni watu ambao wako tu hapo. Unajua vile team inakuanga hapo hivyo. You know when there's a team, ukiangalia team moja. Kuna wengine ujazo hapo tu to make up 11. The 11. Unaona? There's the main star, lakini kuna wale watu mpaka unajua the rule says you have to have 11 players. So mpaka mweke tu hapo wa defense akikuwa akisimama hapo. Milner wa Liverpool. He plays for Ninio. Hao ndio wakina Milner wa siasa. Unawajaza tu hapo wapige makelele ati huyu ana represent Western Kenya. Eugene Wamalwa is useless. Useless kabisa. I'm giving a comparison about two people. Angalia, they took two positions, the same position. Martha Karua and Eugene Wamalwa. They both said, we shall not endorse this BBI proposal because it does not address the issues that Kenyans are concerned about. Sindio? Tukawapigia makofi, tukasema unajua nini? We applaud you. Rebel salute for standing up for what you believe in. Hata ijapita 2 months, kuku wa Yuda anaitwa Eugene Wamalwa amekuja hapo na Kalonzo. Ati sijui Sasa unataka NADCO ipitishwe, ilikuwa implemented kwa parliament, na ulituambia ati hukusaini hiyo kitu kwa sababu ulibelieve hii kitu is not addressing Kenya's issues. And on the other hand, unaona Karua katokeza akasema bado she's standing where she said she was. Akasema hii kitu ni ya kupatia tu several people jobs. Tuache kuharibiana wakati, it's unconstitutional, tuache kuharibu wakati hapa. She stood up where she was. And I'm not a Martha Karua fan. I've never liked Martha Karua. I think Martha Karua is just as corrupt as both. But mimi kama mtu akifanya kitu, ukisimamia msimamo wako kama whether you are a man, lady, siasa, mwanasiasa, I give you respect. Because that means you believe in something. Wewe si mtu unaenda hivi kaa kuku wa Yuda. Huyu Eugene Wamalwa huyu. These are the people at your... Utamwona kesho huyu Eugene Wamalwa. You'll see her tomorrow. Eunice Wamalwa. Ati hao ndio young tax ati wanataka kuwa president sasa. Utamwona hapo. You'll see. And these people are lawyers. Jamani, hizi law degree zenu mnatoa wapi? Mimi pia nataka hii. Hata kama ni ya bandia, hata mimi pia naitaka. I want this law. What kind of... Wewe. Alafu Kalonzo ati maandamano. Mtu aendangi maandamano. Mlishaona Kalonzo akienda maandamano? I don't advocate for maandamano, lakini ushawahi kuona nani akienda maandamano? Huyu Kalonzo. Nilimwona siku moja tu kwa maandamano, amevaa bulletproof vest na amevaa kakakinio ya kichwa, na ndio amesimama hapo anasema ati maandamano. Afadhali Raila akiita maandamano tunajua tutamwona hapo amekaa kwa gari yake anaenda maandamano na ataambia watu. Yeah? At least you know you can't fold. Raila atakienda maandamano akienda kwa ile Range Rover yake. Yeah? We know that in 1992 tulikuwa tunamwona akisimama na akina Shikuku and they were walking na akina Matiba. At least we can give him that. Yeah? Even though to enjoy. Wewe Kalonzo unakuja hapa unatambia mambo ya maandamano. Since when have Kalonzo been to maandamano? How long have you fought for Kenyans? Wewe Kalonzo kamsioka wewe. Eugene, wewe umejulikana kwa sababu ya bradako. We gave you respect out. It's actually on the strength of your brother, your late brother. Anaitwaje? Kijana Wamalwa. That was a real politician, real leader. Wewe Wamalwa wewe. Juzi umeingia kwa siasa hapa na umeanza kupeperuka. In fact, you look like Kalonzo. I see why you are hanging out together. Both are useless. Useless. Tuambie ni ukweli, you are useless. Kalonzo wewe sijui hata unakimbia president ya nini? Sijui nani atakupigia kura. I mean, I understand your people. Your people might wakupigie tu ile kura ile ya kukuonea huruma. Tusiaibishe mtoto wetu amesimama hapo hata yeye asimame. Keep him busy. But I know you are doing it so that you can be part of the next government. The next government. Utaenda hapo ujifiche usikizane na Ruto na Musalia useme sina hata mimi mnipatie ni minister ya sijui nini. Because this is what you people like. Yinyi ma politicians wa Kenya nyote, you are very useless. With the exception of few kama Okiomtata. But most of you are useless. Very useless. Both opposition and the ruling government. But Kalonzo, you have the audacity to don't ever say the word maandamano. Kalonzo, if there's anyone who's supposed to say maandamano, it should not come from Kalonzo Musyoka. Should not. Maandamano na Kalonzo is not, you cannot put those two together. Kalonzo we kaa tu hapo, uanze kuongea. Unajua wewe umependanga zile ujinga unajifanya ati wewe ni mtu wa Mungu na umependa peace. Please endelea na hizo ujinga zako. Keep on fooling yourself. Hata nani Hassan alikuambia kwa hizo ile hapo Bomas, you'll never be president. So you enjoy, and hapo utudanganya na ile mambo yako ati you know what, mimi ni mtu mzuri lakini mambo ya maandamano usiseme maandamano wewe Kalonzo wewe. Usiseme maandamano. Do not. BBI was and is unconstitutional. That's why the petition was put forth, because it is unconstitutional. End of the story. Wacha Raila ende AU. Wachana naye, ashawa enjoy machoko mata, kaeni hapo. Hata wewe pia tafuta ile habrakadabra yako hapo tafute. Enda kutanapigia Ruto simu usiku akupatie kazi kwa watchman or something. Story imeisha. Achana Raila ende AU. Ashatu enjoy, ameishia zake. Tumgoje 2027 arudi na urongozi ngine. This is a deal that was made between these two. The deal was Raila enda AU pate AU, but in 2027 Ruto atashinda. Presidency endelee. Hiyo ni deal walisha make. Go join Kalonzo, you want to make yourself useful. Enda ka join Babu Owino huko kwa ile Babu Owino ameanza ile chama yake ya sijui nini kwa ground, sijui nini ground hapo hiyo. Enda na kina wa Muchomba sijui wa Munini. Go join that. Keep yourself busy Kalonzo. You feel young. But juzi nilikuona na watu wa sijui Moi, yule mtoto wa Moi and sijui some losers. Ma loser. Nyinyi mnatuche, lakini nyinyi ile madhara mko nayo nyinyi. One day wa Kenya watasimama. Ile wacha nikwambie kitu. I told you kuna revolution inakuja Africa na haujui hii inakuja. Imeanza West Africa huko. Unaona zile Sahel nation hizo wacha wapate nguvu kidogo. Wapatie 10 years, hata si 10, 5, 6 years hivi. Once they become strong, hawa ndio watakuja kusaidia Anglophone nations. Hizi East African nations ambazo zilikoloniziwa na Uingereza. Hey. Na hiyo revolution ikifika huko, revolution si vita, revolution is changing how we do things. But ile siku tutawafikia nyinyi, ile judgment itakuja kwenu nyinyi. Hey. Na kuambia Eugene Wamalwa na Kalonzo mtatembea na kaptula. Hamtakuwa mkiongea. Mtu enjoy tu, mtu enjoy. Endeleeni na hiyo ujinga yenu. Anyway, in another news, nikiendelea ninio. In another news, Raila alienda Malindi akatuambia, Raila went to Malindi and told us, "Hey, Oparanya, cool down. Joho, tulia. I'm not going anywhere." You heard me? Raila was in Malindi akaambia Oparanya tulia. Na wewe Joho tulia. Sijaenda mahali. Yeah. Goody ananiambia people don't have handshakes for nothing. People don't have shakes for nothing. I have been fooled. I watch from a distance. That's why I'm not hurt with Kenyan politics. Exactly. Mimi nilishahili. Mimi nilidanganywa 2017. I was fooled in 2017. Tulienda tukapisha Raila. Just a small story. Tulienda tukapisha Raila. Vile Uhuru alikuwa anatukanyagia. Tukasema Raila mpaka apishwe. Mpaka. Na sio tafadhali. Ile ilikuwa sio tafadhali. Boss. Nyinyi mnalialia hapa sijui mnaenda kutupatupa mawe hapa dakika 2 alafu naanza kulia. Boss. And remember vile Matiang'i na Uhuru was not playing with us. Kenyan politics is the new comedy. The tragedy in this is that we are the jokes. We are the jokers. Sisi wananchi, the joke is on us. That's what I'm telling you. Azimio folks, ambao wamewachwa nyuma, I understand your pain. I understand it. Sisi tulikuwa hapo 2017. My friend, Ruto is nice. Ruto unajua na wadanganya hivi, but he's not as murderous as Kenyatta. Kenyatta alikuwa anachinja watu bwana. Ukienda maandamano unaomba kabla hujatoka kwa nyumba unasema, "Baba mimi naenda nje, muniombee nisiporudi ile shamba mupatie mtoto wangu mdogo na ile nyingine," na unatoka. Because unajua huwezi kurudi. Boss, ilitufika hapa. 2007 tunakumbuka. Unajua hiki kitu tulikumbuka 2007 Raila akapewa prime minister. Tukasema for the prime minister hata ilikuwa haina nguvu. 2013 ikakuja. Unajua 2013 watu walikuwa wameogopa kwa sababu Okambo alikuwa ashakuja. Unaona? Tukasema acha tulieni. Watu wasimisbehave sana, hii mambo ya Okambo itakuja. 2017 ikafika. Tukaona mtu anatudanganya tena na alishindwa. Uhuru alishindwa. Hey, Raila akasema tukamwambia no. Hakuna. Baba, unaenda kuapishwa. Akasema tulieni. No. Upende, usipende. This is what is called electoral justice. Nyinyi mnafikiria timu tulienda tukamwapisha. Like the video by the way. Like the video mara moja. Tafadhali like the video kabla hujasubscribe. Tulienda tukapisha Raila. Tukamwapisha the people's president. Agwambo Terengenye kibudi sijui nini. Tulisema hizo zote. Watu waliuliwa wakauliwa, watu walisurvive wakasurvive, watu only to see him shake his hands with Kenyatta. So we understand. Tushapitia hizo hata sisi. Tumezipitia. Okay? But what I'm trying to tell you, that does not mean that the fight has to stop. When I say the fight, I mean the fight for justice, freedom, and good governance. Na hizo mambo nzuri tunataka. Let's connect on people who are interested in that. Hii mambo ya kusema Kenya kwanza, Azimio, Ruto sijui watu wakapeleka mahali. Tusipoconnect kama sisi kwa sisi, watazidi kutushinda huko juu, kwa sababu cannot connect on the ground hapa. Ndio maana at least Babu Owino anamza hiyo sijui nini yao ya ground hapo na Peter Keter na wengine wao. It's a good start. Unaona, they're trying on their level with what they have. That's what I'm saying. Okay? So it's not a bad thing. Mpaka tuanze hapa juu, wao pia wameangalia, wakina Babu Owino wameangalia wakasema wenyewe say man, wanatuenjoy, tunaenjoyiwa. They are all of them, the president and whole his cabinet, the opposition and the whole politicians in the opposition. Unaona wanajitengenezea NADCO. Go read that NADCO. NADCO is all about changing the constitution to create a position for sijui nani. Hakuna nini hapo. Uliona bei ya maisha kupelekwa chini. Enda kaangalie. Kasome nani? Martha Karua ametuambia hapo. Raila Odinga does not sound very confident in his AU journey, because leo ulisikia alisema mimi sijaondoka ODM, which I thought was interesting. So nakumbuka niwachezee hiyo clip, nitawachezea saa hizi. He basically said muache kugombana hapa Joho na Oparanya na sijui nani, tukae pamoja ndio party kwae pamoja. Mimi sijaenda mahali, I'm still here, sijapata hiyo kiti yet. That's what I'm telling you. He's not sure. And this AU thing, as the more I think about it, this AU thing might be a way of ODM kujitenga katika hii Azimio coalition. This is another angle. It's a possible angle. Ni matamshi yangu, mafikiro zangu, kwa sababu remember I told you, Raila akibaki actively as the head of ODM and kinara wa Azimio, I told you this is what will happen. Number one, Kalonzo atahama. Kwa sababu Kalonzo amesema mi hata I have one chance only to become president. Wacha nijaribu. Number two, Martha Karua atahama. Kwa sababu pia atafeel mimi siwezi, why should I follow you twice? Sini hata mimi pia nimetosha. By the look of things, Joho might hama pia, unless Raila aseme nitakuweka vice president sasa. Oparanya atabaki. Oparanya is loyal, doesn't have anything to lose. Ashakula pesa Kakamega, he will remain. Unaona? So if Raila stays, ODM, maybe Joho and a few others watatoka. Now, as far as Azimio is already over. Nani amebaki Azimio tafadhali? Hebu niambie nani amebaki Azimio? Eugene Wamalwa. Eugene Wamalwa atahama na Kalonzo waende huko watengeze hiyo mambo yao huko. Okay? Ndio maana unaona wanafuatana. Jubilee lishaenda kitambo. Si Jubilee, mnaona Jubilee nyinyi? Mnaona Jubilee? Jubilee in fact wako Kenya Kwanza. Of course they are trying to tell us that they are standalone party, but so nani amebaki Azimio? Si nitabaki tu ODM na hii watu wa mbili hapa sijui nani. Right? Azimio is long dead. So Raila, mimi nikiona hii AU maybe ni njama yake ajitenge katika hii Azimio. Atoe ODM katika hii Azimio. Unaona? So by him running around kutafuta hii AU, na most likely maybe hata ipata, atarudi, na akirudi atarudi kama mwana ODM. Sasa ODM itakuwa imesimama peke yake. Okay? Na two things will happen akirudi asipopata hii kiti. There's two things will happen. He will be looking for a new coalition. And the coalition that I think he will be looking for ni kufanya kazi na William Samoei Arap Ruto. Na watashikana, na wakishikana watapigania hii NADCO. watapigania hii NADCO. Maana Raila tarudi, Raila akikosa hiyo AU, mkuwe ready. Maandamano itarudi. Wacha hii maandamano ya Kalonzo. Sasa maandamano ndio ile itaiva. Maandamano, Monday maandamano, Tuesday maandamano. Ndio a pressure president waingie kwa hii NADCO. Utaona. Raila cannot stay idle. Raila mpaka akwae na carpet, akwae na gari, weekend anatoa hapa anapigiwa makofi, baba. He has to have that. Usipompatia hiyo, mtajua maandamano ni nini nyinyi. Hata wasumbua. Yeah. Good year. Raila told you that he is is not going anywhere. There is something big awaiting for him. Remember the bet. Nakumbuka bet. Raila sipopata hiyo kiti ya AU. Muhame Kenya. Ile maandamano itakuwa hapa Kenya. Mpaka mumpatie. It's either AU ama mumpatie BBI. Mumpatie hii NADCO proposal. Sasa apigi makelele kwa sababu anataka hii AU. Anapima ya aone vile inaenda. Ndio maana unaona anaambiwa kina Oparanya, tulieni. Mosmos. Nikikosa hii kiti, mtaona kidi. Ask your Luo friend what kidi means. Where? Akikosa hiyo kiti, akosa AU, NADCO inapita. Watapitisha NADCO. Ataanza vita. Let me not say vita. Let me not put that in him. Wacha niseme tu kutakuwa na maandamano. I was going to play the speech by Raila Odinga as I wanted to highlight what he deemed. He doesn't seem so sure about this AU seat. He's not as confident. Anasema sijaipata. And he wants ODM to maintain its posture, its position, its composition. Mtu asiende mahali, kaeni hapo. Kaeni. Mambo mosmos. That's why I'm giving you my other angle. It might be, this whole AU thing might be a ploy by Raila Odinga, knowing well that he's not going to make it. But it's an opportunity for him and ODM to have an excuse to end what is known as Azimio coalition. Remember one day, I keep on reminding you, remember, let me remind you. After Raila Odinga met Jimmy Wanjigi, Wandai talked to the press conference and he said this. This is what Wandai said. ODM is going to enter into a new coalition very soon. He didn't say Azimio, he said ODM is going to enter into a new coalition very soon. Now, how many political coalition of name that can you name in Kenya? Sini Kenya Kwanza na Azimio. So if ODM, and it was very specific, ODM, which means for ODM to enter into a new coalition, which means the coalition that ODM is in has to disintegrate, has to be dissolved. Okay? And Raila cannot stand up tomorrow and say, hey, Azimio imeisha, kila mtu aende nyumbani. There's process in which he can do that. But for him, ndio mkono yake isionekane directly for dissolving this Azimio, he's creating this, what is it called? AU thing. Minaenda AU. So while he's going to AU, wakina Martha Karua saying, okay, hii Azimio sinimeisha hapa, wacha mimi nikache. Kalonzo sinameona hiyo AU inaisha, yeye pia anasema acha nikache. Na wale wakina Eugene Wamalwa, the useful idiots, hao pia wanasema acha hii imeisha. Unaona? So once they are gone, okay? Raila tarudi February saa vizuri, arudi February. And he will take his rightful place as the ODM leader. Kumbuka nawaambia mimi siwachi, ninaenda tu kutafuta hii kiti. And like he said today, sio guarantee nitaipata, sidhani hasijaipata yet. Addis Ababa ni 2 hours away. So atarudi as the leader of the opposition and ODM, na atashikana na Ruto, and they shall form a new coalition through this NADCO. Ndio maana hii NADCO wataiweka kwa hold. Remember my brother na nani hapa wametuambia, Gudi anatuambia ati hii kitu imekufa, NADCO imekufa. And I gave you an example. And let me tell you an example again as I finish up. I told you, remember vile ile story ya kutuma mapolisi Haiti ilishindwa kotini? Remember that? Na nikawambia hii story haijaisha, wataipitisha. Same thing with affordable housing. In fact, it was the same week where all the judgments were made saying that it was unlawful for Kenya to send 1,000 police officers in Haiti. And it was the affordable houses was unconstitutional. Hebu niambie, leo, where is the affordable housing? It's law, right? And it's unconstitutional, but it is law. Si nimepitishwa? Hebu niulize, ile mapolisi ambao walikuwa nasema ati kutuma mapolisi 1,000 huko Haiti is unlawful, is unconstitutional. Tell me, is that going on or it's not going on? Si bado inapitishwa inaenda? Okay? So what I'm trying to say is this. Sasa tunaweza kufurahia ama tunaweza kusema ati NADCO is not going anywhere. Si tunasema watu wa koti wamesema ati is not going anywhere. Ruto will do the same thing he did with the affordable housing and the police officers, 1,000 police officers issue. Ataileta kwa parliament sasa afresh, na wataanza kusema, oh, you know what, let's change some things, let's let's agree on something. Atashikana na Raila or Wandai or something, waseme, oh, tumekubaliana mambo ya cost of living, ati tutafanya ABCDD ndio cost of living ipitishwe, and then they shall pitisha it. Kwa sababu remember, Azimio people want it and the Kenya Kwanza people want it. So wakisema pitisha. Kama affordable housing, watu wa Azimio were against it. How did it pass? Kenya Kwanza alone could not pass it. Some of the Azimio folks didn't show up, and they didn't show up for deliberately ndio hii kitu ipitwe. So the same thing while we are here, we are just joking. Na naambia kama mchezo hapa, niliwaambia kama mchezo. The same thing with NADCO. Mnaona hapa saizi the NADCO is said to be unconstitutional and is illegal. Koti ndio hiyo imesha pronounce itself. Unafikiri Ruto alikutana na nani ule mama wa Supreme Court kwa nini? It was for a reason. So let us show the public that hata wewe pia unaweza kusimamia, you can stand on your own. They'll reject it. The new NADCO utasikia kesho in a few months utasikia ati the NADCO thing is being revised. They want to change a few things. Now utasikia ati they are not going to fungua server because that is unconstitutional, but they'll say wataingiza kitu kidogo kama ati we've agreed on how we are going to bring down the cost of living, alafu watasema ati but zile positions za CS na prime minister na leader of the opposition itaongezwa, itakaa hapo tu watafanya, and utasikia ati the opposition is working with the government to propose a new revised version of the NADCO report. Alafu utaona itapelekwa kwa bunge na itapitishwa and it will become law. Come 2027, ODM and Kenya Kwanza ni kitu kimoja. Raila ni prime minister, Musalia Mudavadi ni leader of opposition or Wandai, whatever the case is, na hizo ujinga zote. Mark my words, nimeisema hapa leo. Andikeni chini na hii video save, like it, share, comment na subscribe kama hujasubscribe. Naambia ukweli, hii ndio kitu naambia. Niliwaambia kama mchezo. This is what they happen. That's what they do. The political class feel like they are above the law. Ndio maana unaona Kalonzo illustrated that today very clearly. Every time they are faced with the constitution, knowing that they are breaking whatever they're proposing is against the law, what do? They threaten the Kenyan people with peace. Hamtaki kupitisha NADCO? Haya. There will be no peace. Tunarudi kwa maandamano. Fear. There will be no security. Tutarudi. Mizozo na ghasia itaendelea Kenya. Mpaka mkubali ninio. Alafu watatuma watu wachinje watu. Thank you, Goodyear. Save video nitawaambia. Nimewaambia. Mimi ni prophet. Nimewaambia wa siasa. Every time the political class want to pass something that's unconstitutional, they will threaten peace and security of the wananchi in Kenya in the name of disagreements. Alafu once there's outrage utasikia ati we've agreed to sit down. Alafu atakachidi, take some pictures, nini. Then they'll say, utasikia the clergymen watatokea watasema, just for the sake of peace, let us pass this NADCO. For the sake of peace, we've revised it. We've revised this. Let's pass it. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends, enemies and comrades, this is Kenya Revolutionary. It's been an hour. Please like the video. Like the video. Come on, just subscribe to my channel. Please go ahead and subscribe. If I had time, ninge link wale watu wanataka kuingia. I see a lot of people today. But go to my, unaona jina yangu kwa screen hapo, Kenya Revolutionary. Type it on YouTube. Find it. Subscribe. Like, share. Na subscribe. Ndio huyu Kalonzo tumletea hapa deconstruct vilivyo. Aache kutuchezea. Na ma politicians wengine hawa kina Wamalwa. Like the video, share, comment, subscribe. Ni bure, kusubscribe ni bure. Mimi sitakucharge. It's free. Hiyo kidole tunafanya hivi kwa hiyo channel pap. Na ni bure. Na nitakuingiza hapo ukitaka kuongea, unakuja unaniambia niweke link na tunaongea. Anyway, leo ni Easter, najua mnakula nini, kuku ama sukuma ama ugali ama mchele, whatever you are. Happy Easter. That's all I want to tell you. Kuna joto hapa, mimi wacha ningeendelea mbele, lakini leo ni Sunday Easter, kesho watu mpaka rudi kazini, wale watu wanarudi kazini, wale watu wana kazi pia sawa. But nasema ni Easter. I want to wish you a happy Easter, everyone. Please, by the way, for the last and for the umpteenth time, like, share, comment, and most importantly, subscribe. It's free. It's free to subscribe. It's free. It won't cost you anything. Okay? Na uweke ile notification ikifika utasikia ping. Simu kama kuna simu naweka notification hapo on. Nikiingia unasikia ping na niyo ndio unaingia. Na ukitaka kuingia studio, if you disagree with me, nitakuwekea link hapa every day. Okay? But anyway guys, thank you so much. Gudia, shukran for your 2 cents. Brother Benson, thank you for your contribution. Everyone else who's watching in your X and YouTube, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters. Happy Easter, happy Easter to you too. Sawa, tuonane kesho. Nitakuja hapa kesho. I'll be coming in earlier tomorrow maybe, okay? God willing. All right? Peace and blessings. Tuonane kesho. Sawa. All right, peace.